Hey, welcome back to Chris's Comments. It's been a while since I've been on the YouTube side, mostly because I've had to go to the Anchor podcast, anchor.fm/Chris comments. You go to that website, you go to that podcast site, and I can talk a lot more freely. I've been sort of suspended off of YouTube. YouTube usually doesn't tell me what it is that I've done wrong. They just throw the guidelines at me. So I've just been neglectful to jump on YouTube again for a good while. It's been a small while. So I'm going to do another show here, and then tomorrow I'm going to go on my podcast and talk more elaborate on what it is that I want to say. Because there's no censorship, despite the fact that I still try to watch my language. There's no censorship. I can talk freely about what I want on Anchor podcast. And the best part about it is that it's audio. You don't have to look at my ugly mug. My made for radio face is perfect for Anchor. Now, here on YouTube, I'm just going to be making little bits of appearance. I'm not going to be diving too much in depth because, you know, what I say offends quite a few people. Especially those on the conservative side. And I don't mean to. It's just that I look at the facts and I point them out and I, state what's going on. Now here on today, I want to talk about what I usually talk about. When it comes to any kind of subject, you take a step back and look at it, and you'll see that it entails one of my favorite quotes. It's all about the money. Belief is the tool. It's all about the money. Belief is the tool. Sorry. Now, what we got right now over south of the border, a migrant caravan of almost 7,000 people in southern Mexico has been dissolved. And what that means is that cooperation with the National Institute of Immigration, and for some reason they switched the first two words around to where it says INM, which is kind of weird because you would think it would say NIM, N-I-M, for National Institute of Migration. But they want the acronyms to be INM instead of NIM. So INM has worked on migrants that have deported south of the city of Tapachula, were given a migratory document that accredits their regular stay in Mexico. So these guys that have put in their time, these families, they put in their time, they've toughed things out. They waited. They're given documentations now, and it's paying off. Now, there's a few people that are still struggling. The struggling is still ongoing, but cooperation with the INM has prevented a lot of victimization caused by criminals. Trafficking, kidnapping, extortion, and all that good stuff. The stuff that the criminal organizations and unorganized crime is responsible for when it comes to victimizing migrants. So this is another good step. Despite the fact that there's a threat of about 50,000 of them coming, 50,000 migrants from Mexican shelters, Cubans, Colombians, Haitians, Peruvians, Guatemalans, Hondurans, Mexicans, El Salvadorans, and that's not even including the Russians and the Ukrainians from the war that's going on over there. Okay, there's because Title 42 has been emphasized. People, it's slowed down the whatchamacallit. New data is accounting 8,000 people attempting to cross the border each day. That's a bit, so 7,000 right now is just a drop of a bucket full of migrants, and it's understandable. Um, Now, what does that have to do with money? Okay. Also, recently, Dr. Oz. Dr. Oz has tried running for governor, I think, in Tennessee. I think Tennessee or Arkansas. I can't remember which state. But he's devoted himself to excuse me. He's devoted himself to taking on and fighting immigration, despite the fact that he's got family members that own a business. I don't know what it is yet, what type of business it is yet, that's been hiring illegal immigrants for workers. And, you know, the reason for something like this is all about the money. Now, it's obvious Dr. Oz is not getting any profit whatsoever, so he's on the cause to fighting immigration. His family members, however, they're banking pretty good. As I've stated in previous posts, once or twice here, but I think it got reported on or something like that, considered too offensive. So on YouTube, it isn't there. But if you go to my podcast, I've explained about how it costs $7,500 for on a national level. Some states are more expensive, some states are less expensive, but it costs around $7,500 to hire a new employee if you're an American business owner hiring an American citizen. And by a quarter year to half a year to a whole year, depending on what the business is, there's a probation period before they become fully hired on, and all the investment money goes to that employee, be it insurance, pay raises and promotions, and like healthcare. Okay, healthcare and stock. Okay, again, it depends on the business, but after that probation period, that business is supposed to give the entitlements to that worker, also based upon their tenure, which is, you know, productivity and all that good stuff. But what a lot of businesses are doing is that they're either giving them a lot of harsh treatment, treating them like dog crap, to where the worker cannot stand it anymore and quits, or they go through an evaluation, the employee goes through an evaluation, one mistake, and that employer dismisses them, fires them, lets them go. In turn, whichever the case, whether they quit or they're released, that business gets to profit all that money that was supposed to be invested into that worker, you know, whether it be through pay raise, stock options, healthcare, a promotion with the pay, if not all of the above, because some companies can actually do that. But instead, they're either quitting, they're giving harsh treatment to where the employees are quitting, or they're being fired or let go based off of some disapproval, and all that money that's supposed to go to that employee is now pocketed by the business. It's even easier for that business to do that when the employee happens to be an illegal, undocumented immigrant. Okay, so on one hand, you got a lot of business, and then once they leave, these business owners are going up to reporters saying nobody wants to work, and that's just total BS. As I've stated throughout previous posts, which you'll find more on Anchor. For some reason, somebody complains on YouTube. YouTube doesn't even investigate it; just throws the guidelines at you and says you're out for a couple of days or weeks. You got your first strike or second strike or whatever, and that's just sad. And back to the money, you got Dr. Oz that's claiming fight illegal immigration while his family is actually hiring illegal immigrants, and it's all about money. He's collecting money from people that see things his way because they believe he's on the right side of the righteous. And his family is over here banking on illegals' work without having to invest too much profit into them. They're pocketing the profits. It's all about the money. Belief is the tool. And they believe, hey, it's just business. It's just good business, you know. Now that's on economic corporate level. What I want to share on a legal level, on a law level, is this immigrant still sticking to problems with the border. Now I don't know if I said this on the YouTube channel, but I've reported on the Anchor podcast back in May about the 70 children that were missing or human traffic victims. They were recovered within a 3-week operation here in Texas, which knocked out an operation as far south as Juarez, Mexico, and as far north as Colorado. Okay, and I've made this proclamation before about, see, this is what happens when the Texas Governor Greg Abbott does not interfere with our law enforcement. Children are rescued. In this case, 70 children aging from 10 to age 17. You know, some were runaways, some were victims of trafficking, and all of them were victims of abuse. Okay? They were rescued. And this is what happens when somebody like Greg Abbott doesn't have them doing truck stop inspections, which technically wasn't even to look for criminals. They were checking tire gauges. They were checking fluid levels on trucks. Cops, our law enforcement that's what Greg Abbott was doing. And now that was early May. Just last week here in June, it's June 13th, Monday, June 13th, Wednesday of last week, on June 8th, more than $1.68 million in methamphetamine seized at the Texas-Mexico border. Now, technically, it happened on June 5th, the first week of June, where a 47-year-old Mexican citizen was driving by and was referred to inspection by Mexican border patrols, by law enforcement there. Okay, this is what happens when you don't have law enforcement checking tire gauges and making sure that their oil level is okay and that the radiator fluid is still full. You know, when you have cops being cops and you got law enforcement using non-intrusive inspection equipment and a canine to search a vehicle, they're finding packages, like 6 large packages containing 371.74 pounds of methamphetamine concealed in the vehicle. Okay, now the driver was arrested and turned over to U.S. Immigrations and Custom Enforcement Homeland Security investigators for special agents for further investigations. Once again, 371.74 pounds of meth is the equivalent to $1.68 million in street value. Okay? Now, this is a significant quantity of hard narcotics to be discovered. The methamphetamine inspection underscores the seriousness of hard narcotics threat that our officers face on a daily basis and the determination of Custom Border Patrol to uphold our border security mission and prevent these drugs from reaching our U.S. streets. That's from the Port Director, Liliana Flores, Del Rio Port of Entry. Okay. In other words, she gave the proverbial pat on the back to our law enforcement who was doing their job. Okay, and that's it. They weren't doing any extra cargo inspections. They weren't checking tires. They weren't checking the fluid levels of these things. They were doing their job, and they were doing their job. And all this money in the form of meth got confiscated. Okay? It's now prevented from going into our streets. And this, according to the representative of the point of entry, Miss Flores, Liliana Flores, the cops go through this on a daily basis. So what are we doing having them be these jerks to legitimate truckers that have already been inspected through customs and border agencies, and all this good stuff? Why is Greg Abbott having our law enforcement harassing legitimate truckers when they could be out busting guys that are sending in 371 pounds of meth? And as I've stated through the truck stop scheme, he's hurting $12 million an hour business. That's how much merchandise and produce and products that goes through our borders. Okay? And he's doing that to claim that Biden is not doing their job, and that he is doing the job of protecting our people at the borders, which is a total BS lie. And this is another proof of this. This situation is another proof where 70 children who were missing and abducted and trafficked are actually recovered, rescued, and are sent through healing processes, something that I really don't mind our taxpaying dollars going to. Greg Abbott stopping having law enforcement, guard caged children in the borders, asylum seekers, who are toughing everything out and going through the process, getting accredited documents to come into freely into our states, into our country. Greg Abbott used I'm still sticking to Texas just simply because this is a Texas problem here, and that's where I am right here. I'm still sticking to Texas. You guys, whoever's watching this in your state, be it Arizona, all the way out to Mexico, New Mexico, all the way out to California, and in the southeastern states that are looking at migrants trying to come in through the Gulf, by all means, point out the bullcrap that's going on there, the way I am here in Texas. Here in Texas, Greg Abbott is using our law enforcement, the people that when you just let them do their jobs, they're actually protecting us. But Greg Abbott is doing this bullcrap, and he's not protecting or saving saving any of us. You can look into one of my previous posts about how Greg Abbott's Operation Lone Star is nothing but BS. And I've pointed out many things as to how and why it's horrible, and it's all being accredited to his policy, Operation Lone Star. One of the most idiotic ones was the arrest of a woman who was pulled over for speeding, got her car searched. One of her glove box found a loose leaf, marijuana leaf in her glove box, something that's a misdemeanor, but was given felony charges in the name of Operation Lone Star, a policy that's supposed to protect us from illegal criminal immigrants. And this lady wasn't even, not only was she not arrested at the border, she was a resident in a county 200 miles inside the border, and she was an American citizen. She wasn't even a Latina. She was a white woman. And her arrest was declared a felony, which was a misdemeanor, declared a felony for illegal trespassing charges, which is also a misdemeanor. A trespass charge is also a misdemeanor, not a felony. In the name of Operation Lone Star, which technically particular arrest didn't really protect us from anything, much less the threat crossing a border, you know. But he threw the credibility to that, and he's done that for quite a few hundreds of arrests, if not thousands of arrests by now. And everybody here in Texas, the majority of my state, follows along, literally believing him and his administration, you know. And that's what keeps him in power. That's what keeps him in power. That's how he profits out of all of. That's how his administration profits. The Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, Ted Cruz, you know, that's how they all profit. And then you got people they're criticizing somebody like Beto, who doesn't use Operation Lone Star. That 70 missing children recovered was done out of an El Paso program called Operation Lost Souls. Yeah. It had nothing to do with anything that Greg Abbott created. Most of that Operation Lone Star policy isn't even applied throughout West Texas, let alone El Paso, Beto O'Rourke's territory. He's not using any of their people to get things done. And it turns out over in the West, all the way as far as Dallas and Fort Worth, north of it into Colorado, and south of West Texas into Juarez, Mexico, Operation Lost Souls saved 70 kids within a 3-week period. 70 missing and trafficked children. Again, from age 10 to 17. I mean, come on. So, when you got something like Operation Lone Star with Greg Abbott, who's misusing and misrepresenting and just using law enforcement all wrong, not letting law enforcement do their jobs, you know, and they're too busy guarding caged children at the border asylum-seeking facilities, and they're doing truck stop inspections, checking tires on cargo trucks, not even checking the cargo to see if it's illegal, because the border custom and border agencies already checked them. You know, this is a waste of our tax-paying dollars, and it's abuse of law. You know, creating wrong and wrongful arrests. But it's all to maintain profit out of the power that they're keeping, and the majority of the Texas believes that it's for the best. And that's why, you know, bringing up these ugly truths is why, you know, my videos have been reported on, and I've been, you know, getting these strikes against me. I'm not making anything up. This is what's going on. You know, this is what's going on, people. I'm not making it. I'm just relaying the message. So, but you'll hear way more in-depth segment of this. There's a couple of other stuff that I'm not bringing up. I'm repeating the same stuff right now, but there's a couple of other things that I'm not bringing up, and you can hear it because it's audio only. You don't got to look at my mug. You can hear it while you're doing your, you know, your chores or whatever, you know, and your tasks. Where I'm going further in depth, bringing out a whole lot more specifics into this. Because again, on this channel, it's all about the money. Belief is the tool. You know, everybody's doing it for a profit, and you're believing that it's for the greater good. And there's a little bit more to come on that, but for right now, I'm just gonna let it go. Immigration is still an ongoing struggle. There's a lot of people profiting on it. Everything from businesses to candidates like Dr. Oz to actual politicians in power, and a combination of both with a little bit of stuff in between. But there is a median. there is a medium, and there's a lot of stuff out there that everybody says, hey, it's just business and this is the way it goes. Yeah. But the flip side to that is the actual doing the good deed, supporting a good cause, doing it for the right reason, for actual security. And those two examples is what I was talking about. The meth that's prevented from being trafficked into our country, as well as the rescuing of children that have been trafficked. The flip side to, hey, this is just business and you're going to believe that you're safer because of it. The flip side is the actual stuff that keeps us safe. The actual stuff, the actual good acts of good deeds that are being done, be it by people who have noticed something and called the cops, if not done by the law enforcement themselves when they're permitted to do their jobs. So, that being said, this is what is going on. I have a whole mess load of stuff to keep on relaying. I mean, I'm writing down a lot of stuff and I'm trying to sort it out to where I can make way better sense. But just understand that once I do come out with these reports or conspiracies, it's because it's all backed up by that one saying. It's all about the money. Belief is the tool. Right now here in Texas, we got a lot of people that are doing a lot of bad things with our law enforcement and stuff. And they're in power by the people that voted for them, which unfortunately is the majority of my state. So I'll come back to more of that, and we'll catch y'all later. Right now, keep on taking care of yourselves. We still got a variation of the pandemic. I caught it last month. Tomorrow, Tuesday, the 14th, I get my second shot. I'm feeling really good, but I'm still gonna get my second shot, my part 2 shot. We'll catch y'all later. Y'all take it easy. Keep taking care of each other, and until the next time, take a step back, look at it, whatever it is that's got your attention. Look at it with common sense, on common ground. This is Chris with Chris's Comments, a show of common sense on common ground, signing out. Y'all take care, okay? We'll see you next time.